In this video, I want to talk about directional versus non-directional fabric and why it matters. This is a great video if you're getting confused by patterns that you're looking at or trying to figure things out. Here's the number one thing I think people should do when they're starting to sew. Start with non-directional fabric. It is one less thing that you have to think about and worry about, and you can just focus on your sewing skills. Then, once you're feeling more confident about that, move into directional fabric. So we're going to talk about how to spot directional fabric, what it does and why it matters, how to decide if something is non-directional, and then I'm also going to talk about why stripes and plaids, while non-directional, are tricky, and I don't recommend doing them for some of your first sewing projects. Let's start with directional fabric. There is always a clear top and bottom. If it is upside down, you're going to notice, everyone else is going to notice. If it's sideways, also going to notice. So let's just look at a few examples. I went through my fabric stash and grabbed some. So this one, also directional. While sometimes some things are tilted a little bit, there's definitely a top and a bottom. And if I'm here, I can read everything. If I'm here, everything is upside down. This one is another very obvious directional. Big icons. This is the top, this is the bottom. So with flowers, the things to look for and look at are stems. If they're all coming in the same direction, so these stems are all facing this way, even though they're tilted a little bit, this is the top and this is the bottom. That definitely upside down, and that looks sideways because flowers never grow left to right. Here's another one. It's a lot smaller. At a glance, you could say, oh, that's non-directional. But if you look at the stems, they're all coming down this way. So again, tilted a little bit, but everything is down this way. The tops of the flowers are all up here. So this has a top and a bottom, and it is a directional floral print. Here's another. While again, they're swimming sideways a little bit, none of them are totally upside down. So if we turn it this way, all the fish are upside down. That is actually the best way to decide if something is directional or not. Look at it and turn it every direction. If it doesn't look good from every direction, then it is a directional fabric. Now let's look at some non-directional fabrics. So these leaves, I can turn it every direction, and I might prefer it one direction over the other, but there are leaves going in every direction, so this is actually a non-directional print. These flowers, they look good every direction. If you have a keen eye, you will see that there's like a half sunflower is kind of facing the sun that is always facing this way. So you could say it's directional, but honestly, if you're using it, unless you have an artist looking at this, no one is going to notice. If you look at these acorns, we have them going in every direction. I spin this around, it looks good. The main thing that changes is the lines on the grain, but it's fine if they go sideways or up and down. That's totally personal preference. Now these bees that go with the sunflowers that I showed you earlier are non-directional because we have bees flying in every direction. Here's another one, sunflowers, and because there are no stems, we can turn this any which way we want, which makes it an icon-driven non-directional fabric. I'm going through a lot of examples just to really hit home how this works. Snowflakes, almost always non-directional. Here's another print, these little light bulbs, but you'll see I have them facing this way, this way, this way, and this way, so it is non-directional. The ultimate non-directional is solid. Doesn't even matter usually what side you're using, front or back, and it's solid, so obviously there's no direction to that. Polka dots, definitely non-directional, although this one does get close to acting like a stripe because they are so organized. If you don't cut it perfectly lined up, you might not be happy with your results. And we'll talk about that with stripes and plaids in a minute. So this is actually a more forgiving dot, and that would be great for beginners because they're all different sizes. They're scattered. It kind of looks like raindrops. If you cut a little bit crooked, nobody's going to know. And every direction looks good. A star toss, that's going to look good all the way around. Some dog bones. Getting the idea, right? I pulled lots of examples to just really hit home with this. We call this a blender. It's all tonal, so you could use this in place of a solid green, but it's non-directional because everything's tossed every which way. On my YouTube channel and in my Etsy shop, I have a playlist or a pattern category called Beginner Sewing Patterns. And every one of the patterns in those sections has two things in common. It is only straight cutting and straight sewing. So they are fantastic as you are learning to sew, if it is the first thing you're ever trying to sew. So I wanted to put them a little bit separate from all of the other things that I have so that if you're new, you know that you can go there with confidence and it's going to be something that you're going to be able to do so that you can fall in love with the process of sewing just like I have. So now let's talk about stripes and plaids. And diamonds, actually, or anything that acts like a stripe. So here is a traditional stripe, very straight. It can go this way, it can go this way, so it can act non-directional. But the reason I don't recommend stripes, plaids, or anything that acts stripy for beginners is you have to be very precise with how you cut it. And sometimes when you grab your fabric, it's not straight to begin with. That's just another step that you have to take. Now, while this is very distinct and very straight stripes, you can also have something a little more forgiving. So this is a wavy stripe. So if you didn't cut perfectly straight, you're not going to know because you don't have that very straight line of reference. And just like the other stripe, it can go this way or this way, and it's pretty easy to figure out if you are particular about which way it goes, which way to cut it. Now this is a herringbone pattern, but it really acts like a stripe. We have smaller, bigger, smaller, bigger. So really, if you look at it visually, it's a stripe. And this shows you what I was talking about on the cutting. This is not straight. You can see that on that line. So if I were to have cut this and then sewn it into something, everything would be slightly crooked, and that would make me crazy. Plaids, oh, that can make you crazy even more because you have stripes going in both directions. So this isn't the best print to use as a beginner because you do have to be more specific about how you iron and cut it so that everything stays nice and straight. Now, what about diamonds? This looks like an icon, right? But it's all very organized. It's lined up, so it really can act like a stripe or a plaid. And I'm going to show you what happens with the bolt on this one. I'm going to line the ruler up with the fold of the fabric. And then it is still lined up over here with the selvage. But you'll see it's not lining up perfectly on these diamonds. We're at the tip of the diamond here, but we're cutting off a little bit of the diamond here. These are things you need to pay attention to when you're working with things that are very stripy, as I like to say, whether they're stripes or something that act like stripes. So if I was using this, I would need to come in and make sure my ruler was set right on those points. And it would probably be better also if I didn't cut both halves at the same time. If I wanted it to be really precise, I would open this fabric up and I would have it lined up along those points and cut all the way across instead of cutting it in half like you can do with most prints. For stripes, plaids, etc., the matching matters, the cutting has to be much more precise, and seams show your errors. Now let's look at real world example. I'm going to show you 3 scrunchy dog bandanas. And there'll be a link to this pattern if you have a dog in your life. So you can see that this one was made with directional fabric and these 2 were made with non-directional fabric. Now, how did I know what to do? With a dog bandana, you pretty much know the top is where their neck's going to be and the point's going to be the bottom. But it's not always that obvious when you're cutting your fabric to put a project together. So most patterns should have an arrow. And when it has an arrow like this, it's basically saying if you're using directional fabric, you want the top and bottom to be in these directions. And sometimes it will label top as well. So when you see arrows like that, it can relate to the grain line of the fabric. That's a whole other video. I'll link to that in the video description. And also directional, whether you need the top and the bottom, because you wouldn't want this going sideways on your dog bandana. So I know I just said a lot, but I wanted to give you examples of how to see what is directional and what isn't, and why it makes it easier to use non-directional fabric and how it works in real life situations from these. Make sure you have subscribed to my channel. Happy fabric selection and happy sewing.